dive in. Schwami, what's going on? I'm glad that you could make it here. Hello, everyone. Happy afternoon. Welcome, 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 welcome. What's going on, y'all? Welcome, welcome, welcome. What's up? What's up? I'll give everyone a few minutes to get on in here, and then we're going to kind of get started. And I'll kind of go through where we're going to start, where we're going to finish, and kind of what we're going to go through throughout the next 45 minutes to an hour. Check out this incredible deal someone just pulled on what? Oh, we lost Schwami. That's tough. That's tough. Like I said, we'll give everyone a few more minutes to get in here, and then we'll dive into kind of what we're going to be going through today. Schwami, you there? Can anyone hear me? I guess is the first order of business here. If you could just throw it in the chat like, hey, you're good, I would appreciate that. Cool. Awesome. Schwami, let's go. Okay, well, hey everyone, I appreciate you guys all being here. You guys are incredible. Obviously, this is the first time that we're ever doing this. So if you guys can't see my screen, you can click on where I'm sharing it and you can actually make it a little bit bigger. If you're on mobile, I think all you have to do is turn the phone and you'll be right there with us. But I am so amped to be able to do this with you guys. I know Schwami and I are pretty pumped to kind of have this more individualized one-on-one time with you guys, where not only we can answer your questions, but also like really dive into like the educational piece behind what we're doing, right? So let's go ahead and kind of get into what are we going to be doing today, okay? And Schwami, obviously, you can cut in whenever, but I'm going to start with kind of our overview. So we're going to start with this idea of what is broad betting strategy, right? And then we're going to get deeper and deeper and deeper, even to the point where we're analyzing certain games tonight in this NFL season. And you know, I think that Schwami, that's where I'll kind of lean on you a little bit too, right? Because props guys, like you guys know better than anyone kind of the trends and what we're looking for, especially when it comes to the Proptimizer. But we're gonna start with betting strategies. Yeah, go for it. Woo! Cool. Yeah, so we're going to start with this idea of what is top down betting versus what is bottom up betting. And then how does that apply to the tools that are within the Sharp app? After we go through that, that's where we're going to kind of go through and back test some of what we've done over the past 2 days, right? Or at yesterday's slate. So we're actually going to look at last night's college football slate and we're going to look at last night's NFL game and kind of see, how did the Proptimizer do, right? Is this a tool that you can reliably look at as a thing to like dive into, or am I just kind of spitting out of our butt, right? And then we're going to go into, okay, this is how we're going to use the Proptimizer for this weekend, all right? If any of you have any questions throughout this entire time, right, all that you have to do is either chat, or there's a way that you can request to actually come to the stage with Schwami and I, and we can talk things through with you one-on-one, right? And so if that's your deal, then we're good to go there as well, right? That it would be sweet to me, but I also understand some of you are driving, some of you are not. Like, that's totally good. So please go ahead and type any questions that you have in the chat, whether you're on YouTube or you're on Discord. I'll be able to see both of them and address them kind of in real time. Okay, so let's start. Schwami, does that sound good to you? Okay, cool. Then let's do it. So let's dive into this idea of top-down betting versus bottom-up betting. This is, you know, it's really nitty-gritty, especially to the casual bettor. You might not know what these two strategies really are, right? And if I had to guess, most of you kind of fall into this idea of top down rather than bottom up. That's why you're here, right? That's why the sharp tools are going to be the things that you're going to love to access, right? And so when we talk about top down betting, okay, every bettor, professional, non-professional, falls into what are three categories. You have the top down, you have the bottom up, and then you have the shooting darts, right? We do not want you to be shooting darts. That is the worst thing you can do, right? That is the Book It Trents on Twitter, right? That are literally saying today, he just tweeted like 30 minutes ago, here's my card. I don't know a single player that's playing tonight. Good luck, right? Like, that's not what we want. We want you guys to be really informed and really knowledgeable to be able to take the tools that we have and use them however you want, right? And so let's kind of go through top down. So top down betting, there's kind of three main points when it comes to being a top down bettor. I consider myself a top-down bettor. I'm sure that as I kind of go through this, a lot of you will consider yourselves top-down bettors as well. So top-down betting is this idea where you are taking in all the information that you can, and you're creating and you're placing bets that are the best bet based on all of the information that you have on a very macro level, right? And so what we strive to do here, and if you ever hear someone say, I'm betting the Milwaukee Brewers because I think they're going to win tonight, you are going to lose all of your money. That is not the way to bet, right? If you are betting on tonight's game, one of my plays for today is Oregon minus 23.5, right? If I told you my rationale is I think that Oregon's going to win by 24, you should drop me that moment. Right? That is like the absolute farthest thing that we want, right? What we're looking for in top-down betting is market inefficiencies, right? Where do we think, based on our models, based on Sharp AI, based on the Sharp report, based on the money handles tool, where do we see an inefficiency in the market? Right? Where do we see a gap between the line that we're getting and models that have been built, right? That's the first big aspect of top down. That is almost exclusively what I do, right? Especially when it comes to prop betting, right? If you're using the Proptimizer, that is almost solely a top-down tool, meaning that you're looking at Sharp App projections for receiver yards or receptions, And you are seeing the gap from where certain sports books have the line, right, and what projections are. That's a totally fine way to bet, right? The second part is information sources like the Sharp report, right? You are using the Sharp report. You see that there is sharp money on one side tonight, and you are betting or aligning with that, or the opposite, which is by far my favorite thing to do, by the way. My favorite thing is to fade and bet the opposite of squares and liabilities, right? That's the name of the game to me. If the entire public is on one side, I'm going to book it to run to the other side because these sports books are profitable, right? They make a profit. And so if there are a number of people placing bets on one side, that is and that wins, that is not profitable for the book, right? We want to find those inefficiencies. And then finally, the other one that I don't have a ton of experience in, but maybe some of you do. I know that there's some people in our Discord that really, really like love doing this. It's arbitrage. That's the hardest word for me to say. Schwami, can you say that word? Arbitrage. Arbitrage. There you go. Right, and that's where essentially, yeah, go for it. What was that? Yeah. Just can you give an example maybe of what that might look like? Like take Oregon, Michigan State tonight, right? Like how would someone be like use arbitrage betting? Yep. Yeah. Yeah. No, you killed it. Yeah, and it's something in Sharp 2.0 is that arbitrage tool, right? We have a tool that calculates it for you, and that's coming, and that's a really really cool. But we won't spend too much more time on that. We can spend a whole hour how to really figure that out. The other one is bottom up, and I won't spend a ton of time on this because to me, a lot of the tools that we have combine these two strategies in a way, but really are top down. And so, when we're looking at bottom up, we're looking at specific emphasis on micro details, right? We are looking at specific teams, we're looking at specific players, specific weather factors, right? So I'll give you an example of this. A way that you could go about this is you build a model literally based on who is facing L'Jarius Sneed, right? That is, L'Jarius Sneed has held their top receivers of each team under, I think, 30 yards when they're one-on-one against him this season, okay, for the Titans, right? L'Jarius Sneed, he's a defensive back for the Titans. Okay, great. You know that he has, throughout the past 4 weeks or whatever, held XYZ receivers under this amount. Okay, week 6 comes around, Titans are playing the Colts. Who's the Colts' number 1 wide receiver? Michael Pittman, right? L'Jarius Sneed's probably going to be laid all over Michael Pittman throughout that entire game, right? Or at least a certain percentage of snap counts. You are going to want to go against or go under Michael Pittman's receiving yards because that's where you are starting, right? You are starting with a specific matchup, and then you are going and using that data, right? This micro data to inform your decisions, right? This relies on you creating your own models, right? Coach Anthony makes models, Coach Stats makes models that they post daily, right? That configures into this idea of bottom-up betting, right? And really it's independent thought as well, right? Like, listen, the wind, or it's a beautiful day in Chicago, wind is blowing out, I'm taking the over, right? Or a few days ago, on one of the last days of the season, the Reds were playing the Cubs, and it was a nasty day, and the wind was blowing in. The number was at 6.5. That low number didn't scare me, right? Because the weather was atrocious. There was no way. Ellie De La Cruz hit a ball, and it should have been out by 20 feet, and it dropped at the warning track. Like, that game ended 1-0. That's because I was using independent thought, right, or weather factors in order to really think about, like, this is the play. So you never need to quote unquote isolate yourself into one of these things. Just as long as you're not throwing darts, that's all that I care about, right? And I think that Schwami, you would agree with that. Like, when you tend to bet, what do you find yourself kind of factoring in? Like, how do you kind of come to your straight bets? Yeah. Yeah. Love it. So let's kind of talk about why you guys are here, and that's the Proptimizers, right? So let's dive into the Proptimizers. Right now, we have 3 Proptimizers available to you. That is going to change in like a week, right? We have Underdog, we have Fliff, we have DraftKings, Pick Six. We have a number of Proptimizers kind of loaded in the chamber for when Sharp 2.0 comes out, right? And so, you know, once that's ready to rock and roll, like you are going to be able to use the Proptimizer for quite literally any of these prize picks, sleeper, pick six, fliff, underdog-esque fantasy apps, right? And so those only come with, though, that Sharp Pro Plus subscription, right? And so if you're ever looking for those, this is a shameless plug. I know we're doing it because we're doing it, right? If you're ever looking to try it, message myself, message Schwami. We can give you a code, right, where you can get a certain % off. I'll let you guys know in here personally, like the price is going to go up. And so if you aren't locking in now, you're going to get a higher price, right? But once you lock in, that's the price you're going to be at. Let's dive into what these things are, right? Let me prove this to you, okay? So if we go to tools, right? So I'm on the Sharp app right now. I'm assuming that you guys can see me moving the computer around, or the screen around, all that good stuff. Yeah? Okay, great. It is moving. Awesome. So right now we have 3 Proptimizers for you, right? There is the top props. Let me zoom in. There's the top props, the prize picks, and the sleeper picks, right? Those are the 3 that we have right now. Underdog is going to be right there. I don't know if I'm supposed to do this, but I could show you it. It is ready to go. Yeah, let's do it. So, right, we have our Underdog Fantasy app, right? And that Proptimizer, it might not load because, it is loading. Great. It has everything ready to go for Underdog once that gets put in, right? It's sick. It looks sweet. It's gonna be the coolest thing. Okay, that's all you get. I'm not showing any more. That's all you get. That's your sneak peek. Okay. So you have 3 different Proptimizers, right? I almost primarily use top props. I don't really use prize picks or sleeper. Schwami, I'm gonna 100% like lean on you for that one, right? Especially when we're talking about how you use those things, right? But I'll kind of go through how I use the top props Proptimizer, and then kind of while Schwami talks, I'll lead us through the other 2 Proptimizers visually, right? So as you can see, this is it. Here you go. Congratulations, everyone. Even if you don't have a Sharp Pro subscription, you are seeing the Proptimizer, the top plays for this weekend, right? How I use the Proptimizer is this. What I tend to do, right, is I look at the edge percentage, right, which you're seeing, on the right side of your screen, right? I look at edge, but that is not all that I look at, right? What I also like to look at is book. So you see this P here? This is pinnacle. You see this C, large C right here? That's circa. Those are 2 of the sharpest books on the planet, okay? They are kind of the lines makers, right? And I won't get too deep into kind of what that means, but they are the ones that really set the lines that all the other books kind of lean into, right? And so if I can see that pinnacle is on a certain play, right? So if we look at, let's look at Tyler Huntley here, right? The play is, according to our Sharp projections, we are projecting that Tyler Huntley is going to pass for 190 yards. Can we guarantee that? No shot. No clue. That's not a thing, right? I cannot predict. Derrick Henry went for almost 200 on Sunday Night Football. There's no way to predict that, right? But what we can use is we can use market factors in order to determine what our projections are going to be, right? And so when you look, right, and you see here, where is circa, where is penny, right? And so as you can see, the projection, or the edge is Tyler Huntley over, and you guys actually just saw it moved in real time. I don't know if you guys just saw that. The Proptimizer is 60 seconds behind. It's crazy. It's 60 seconds behind what the actual books, which is incredible, right? That you are not going to find a quicker system than that. And so we're looking at Tyler Huntley, right? Last performance, not great. We all tried to not watch Monday Night Football, but we did anyway, right? He looked like crap. He looked horrible, the worst. But let's take a look. That doesn't matter, right? If you are top down, you are saying it doesn't matter. We're looking for market inefficiencies, and so let's do that, right? As you can see here, at FanDuel, right now, you can get over under 160.5, right? That's your line. FanDuel in DraftKings are kind of the two biggest, right? They're the two biggest books, right? They're the most public-heavy books here. But if you look at Circa, right, they're actually pricing that line at 162. Look at Penny. It's pricing it at 163.5. Now, you might say to yourself, okay, 3 yards. What's the big deal? That's a 3-yard difference. That's a massive difference, right? To me, that is a massive indicator that the over is the way here. So not only are we seeing Circa and Penny on the over, but we're also seeing our Proptimizer on the over. Now, kind of like Schwami talked about, I am not the biggest proponent of looking at top 5 trends. Okay. For example, Tyler Huntley only played 1 game. What you're seeing here is from last season, this season. You're not going to be able to use it, right? You're going to have to throw it out because he went for 96 last week against a really good Titans defense, I will say, right? But you're seeing a 33% edge on this play. Now, what I'm going to do really quick is we're going to backlog, okay? We're going to backlog because to me, I can't show, there's nothing to prove to you here, right? So let's take a look at college football, all right? Last night there were 2 games. There was Sam Houston and UTEP and Texas State and, why am I forgetting who it was? I don't remember. But it doesn't matter because we're not even going to highlight those games. So let's go ahead and use our filters, right? Our Sharp app filters here. And we're going to backlog. So I went over here and there's this little eye. This is hide past games. I took it and I flipped it, right? So I want to see past games. I want to see last night's performance, right? So let's highlight Sam Houston and let's highlight Troy. There you go. And I'm going to apply. So let's take a look at the top 5. So this was at game time, the top 5 plays, okay, from that game. I have the stats pulled up here to kind of show you. So the number 1 prop that it was showing us, okay, was Hunter Watson, 40% edge, over 116, right, passing yards. So let's go into it. Let's see what happened last night. So if I go to the Sam Houston UTEP game, right, I'm just pulling it up on my phone. I'm looking up stats here. Let's backlog. Let's back test kind of the Proptimizer. Hunter Watson, over 116. He had 224. Check. There you go. The top prop of the day won. Congratulations. If you bet that, you're a winner. Let's go move down. Simeon Evans, wide receiver. That was projected at over under 18.5. We saw a little bit of juice on it at minus 112. That was the second top prop. We're seeing a 27% edge, right? That's a 27% difference between the Sharp app projection and the odds. How many did he have last night? 37. No, just kidding. I lied to you. He had... Oh, I was looking at rushing. Sorry, I'm an idiot. He had 25. Check. See you later. Quavez Humphreys, total receiving yards, over 22.5. How many did he have? 47. Check. There you go. Noah Smith, over 100 or 17.5. You got that at Caesars, right? If you were looking at that. Over 17.5. He had 37. Check. There you go. Hunter Watson, rushing yards, under 90. We're not taking all overs here. Hunter Watson last night, 14 carries, 32 yards. The Proptimizer quite literally went 5 for 5 last night if you were taking the top 5 college football bets. Like, I college football, Schwami, I don't know how much experience you have in college football, as far as like betting props goes, but it is so volatile. It is so hard. To me, the hardest market. College football is the hardest market for props, in my opinion. Sure. Yeah. Like, no. 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 No, 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 no. Yep. For sure. And Anthony preaches this all the time, and it is something that I follow too. I will always tell you two things. One, do not throw darts. Two, do not just blindly follow. Right? Everything that you see is a tool. Right? It's a tool that you should be using in order to confirm. Right? So, for example, when I use Sharp AI, I'm not going to Sharp AI, seeing that the Bears are favored by 4 and the line is 2.5, and automatically placing it. No shot, right? That's not how this works. It's a tool, right? Does it add on to? Does it agree with what you are seeing? Joe, you got a question. Let's see. Is it fair to say that the key to the success of the Proptimizer is the quality of the projections, as that determines the EV? I think that when you're using the top props Proptimizer, the projections are its selling point, right? There's no way that any tool ever in the betting industry is going to be perfect when it comes to props. I am the biggest, and that's why maybe I'm a little biased when I'm saying this, but I am the biggest anti-receiving yards prop person in the world. I think that it is the hardest to project ever, right? If you look at Rashid Shaheed, he is my biggest example, right? I have not placed a over under yardage bet in 4 years. I can't do it because I have not been able to find a good model for that, right? But the Proptimizer kind of takes some of that away, right? Rashid Shaheed, I'll go back to that really quick. Rashid Shaheed, he doesn't get a lot of targets, right? And so if you were looking at his target share when it comes to the New Orleans Saints, you would think under every time. But guys like him, guys like Xavier Worthy, guys like Dontavian Wicks, right? Sometimes, like, these dudes go long. Marquez Valdez-Scantling is a bum, but he made a career on this, right? Like, just run, right? Just run. He gets 3 targets, 90 yards, right? There's no way to predict that, right? There's no way to predict that. But if you're looking at, like, last night, let's say you're looking at receptions, right? Chris Godwin and Mike Evans, they're gonna get 10 targets a game, right? Around there. That's how I use kind of the yardage. Sorry to get off that high horse. I yardage props. I can't do them. Anyway, let's move on to yeah, 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 yeah. I'm sorry. It's just that's my high horse. It really is. It just really is. All right, because we're kind of rolling through this. You want to move on to prize picks, Schwami? You wanna step up? Sure. Yeah. Yep. And that might not be a great example, right? That's a very specific prop. But anyway, sorry. Yeah, 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 yep. Yeah, just to cut in really quick, like the top props tool is that market inefficiency, right? That's that market inefficiency that we've looked at. This is a little different, right? And that's exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, I was gonna say you guys just saw it move, right? Like and Lil or Lil Jordan Humphrey is all of a sudden the second most odds to hit, right? Very cool. It's very very cool in that way. Hmm. They got Miami this weekend. Bad defense. Bad and Phillips is out. Oh boy. Oh boy. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. You want to click it? Yep. For sure. So you see the books too, right? Which is sweet. Yeah. Yep. Hmm. Right, and that's what you see here. This consensus line, like that consensus, is where the books stand. Does that make sense? Right. So like when we're going through, you're trying to find an edge, right? And so if Prize Picks line is 158, most sports books we're seeing are over that, right? I think FanDuel Fanatics kind of line up there. Like that's the edge. That's part of that edge that we're talking about. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. Great. Okay. I was gonna say, do you have any players in mind? I don't know how if you've done any research on it yet, but okay, let's do it. Yep. So you got Mike Williams total receiving yards. Our odds to hit on under 33.5 is at 57.63. That's what we're seeing, right? We got the projection sitting right around 30, 31. The consensus at 30. So let's dive in. Yeah. Yeah, about 58. Yep. Yep. Which is that number right there. Oh, sorry. Yeah, it looks like Circa. Maybe we don't have Circa on here yet, but they're all over the place. I mean, these books are all over the place. As far it goes from 30 to 35, like, which is yeah, yeah. It's a tool. It's a tool, right? It's a tool, and you got to use it like for what you need, right? Um, and so we can dive into sleeper really quick too if we want to. It's very similar to prize picks, right? In that it's just a different site, right? I believe that it's the same. Sorry, my internet is on the str. It yeah. There we go. A lot quicker. A lot quicker. Yeah. Great. So so sleeper works in the same way, right? Where if we want to focus in on the NFL, maybe I'll give it a chance to load. Love it. The hardest defense they've played. No, the hardest defense they've played is the Giants. That's the best defense they've played so far. Like, come on now. Come on now. Way lower. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. I completely agree with this. It's a bet I've already placed it at. I placed it at the book though. I didn't even place it on sleeper because I think that Jaden Daniels is going to struggle, and I like him. I like him a lot. I think that, but we are finding a major overplay from from the public, right? Like you said, he's on a roll. Why wouldn't he stay on a roll? Well, look at the defense that he's playing, right? And I think that the Browns are ranked 11th this season in pass defense, which I even look at and think, okay, that there's some positive regression that's probably going to happen here, right? Like that is a better secondary than 11th in the league. Yeah. Yep. No. Listen, I like Jaden Daniels. That is, let's be very clear here. I like, I really like Jaden Daniels. I know you're kidding, but it, this is why, like, the Proptimizer doesn't have feelings, right? And that's a great, like, that's a good thing, right? Because we want to find those market inefficiencies, right? We want to find those places where sleeper is way behind, right? And so even if you think that, like, he's going to, like, even if you're like, he's gonna go off, this is a good line. Like, there's value at sleeper. There's value at sleeper. Who cares about trends? Who cares about any of that, right? Like, you are getting a better number here than you would elsewhere, right? Yeah. Yes. Yeah, for sure. So, I guess as we have kind of 10 minutes left here, I appreciate you all being here. I know Schwami and I, have tossed this around for a few weeks, and I, I love just talking ball with y'all. I mean, really, and that's just what it comes down to. Like, so what we can do now is, for the last 10 minutes or so, either we can highlight a game that you guys want to know a little bit more about, right? Like, we have like Bengals Ravens. I know is a banger of a game this weekend. I'm trying to think of what other NFL games are really, really, like, going to be highly bet on this weekend. I mean, I can look, right? We can look at our matchups here. I know the game in England, right, is going to be probably pretty heavily bet on. Buffalo Houston is going to be a banger. So if you guys want to highlight a specific game, or if you guys are looking at specific players, or if you guys are looking at specific questions, you can either request to chime in, right, and I can accept you and throw you in here, right, or you can go into the chat, and we can kind of talk about what we're seeing, whether that's prop bets or other bets in general. Yeah. hmm Yeah, I love it. And so what you're seeing now too is the odds screen, right? That is coming in Sharp 2.0, right? Where you're going to be able to compare odds across the entire book, right? And so right now, obviously, we're looking at money line, right? And you can see there's over 60 books that we have loaded into Sharp 2.0, right? You're going to be able at pretty much any book that you have, we're gonna have a way to compare odds there, and markets obviously as well. So if we flip over to the total, and let's try to see if this works here. So, oh, let's do it. That's right here. Okay. So what do we want to focus on? So, oh, props Vikings game. Let's do it. Let's go props. Let's go props Vikings game. Um, so what we can do, what do you want to do? Do you want to do top props? You want to just hang out there? Let's do it, Schwan. All right. So if we go to matchup, let's go to NFL, let it load. Okay. So let's look at just Jets mini, and we'll kind of go through the top props, and Schwam, you can kick us off here. If we're looking at Josh Naylor over, yeah. Hmm. Yeah, I would. I like it. I just need a little bit bigger of a sample size, right? I don't like. Listen, if you see this and you place this bet, I don't blame you. Like that, I think that everything is pointing to that. I am just way more conservative when it comes to receiving props, and that's all, right? You know, um, that's true too. Yeah, that's true too. Um, I guess we can look at maybe let's look at one or two more for this game. So yeah, let's look at Darnold. So Darnold under, right? MVP Darnold, right? He's been slinging it. But let's go ahead and take a look at our passing yards here. So the books are kind of all over the place here, and obviously passing yards are super volatile because like what's the difference between 217 and 218, right? Like that there's not a ton there, but we can look here at these books, right? So Penny is pinning this one at 218, Circa at 224, right? Everywhere else, it's pretty much lower than that, right? Now, what does that tell you? Our projections show he's around 203, right? We're seeing about a 24% edge on this play. Last five, obviously, he has gone 2-2, right? He's averaging right at that 224 marker, right? Your theoretical win rate is at 60, right? And I hate looking at that last five, but Jets defense really good, right? Has been able to stop the pass, but who have they played? Right, Schwami, what would you say here? Diced them. Yep, that's what I was gonna say too. Well, and to like something that you can think of when we talk about bottom up, right, is this idea of pace, right, and pace of play. The Vikings play very quick. The Jets play very slow. They just do, and so it's all about who you think might control that clock. Because if they control that clock, right, if the Jets control the clock, Darnold might not have the ball as much as we think. So we got just a couple more seconds here. So let's kind of rapid fire here. Um, yeah, we can look at what that says or what we got going here. Let's see if I can look at player as well. Let's look at all. I would like. Okay, maybe not. Apply. Yeah. And look, we're only looking at a 10% edge there, right? That is something that I would not look to as a, effective, right? That's not something that I would really see a massive edge on, um, as far as that goes. Um, yeah, let's yeah, for sure. For receiving yards, I mean, he stunk last week, and that's just is what it is. I would look for him to bounce back, but yeah, go. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, you got Braylon Allen receiving over 9.5 right here. It's the third prop, 20% edge there. I like that a lot more than Brees Hall, especially as they. I mean, I love my boy Brees, I really really do. But as we see their like target shares, they're starting to even out a little bit, right? And so that's something to look at too. Penny's hitting that right at 9.5. You're getting -113. They're leaning that way a little bit as well. Yep, I agree. I agree. Yep. And the cool thing too is if you guys are in our Sharp Discord, right? Obviously you have all of the Sharp coaches if you're a pro subscriber. So any of these questions that you have before game time, throw them at myself, throw them at Schwami, right? Let us kind of guide you in that way. But also under the free topics, you have the Proptimizer, right? And so if you guys ever have any questions about kind of what we are seeing as far as the Proptimizer goes, throw us in there, tag us, and we'll make sure that we get back to you before game time. Anything else that you want to kind of talk about, Swami, before we wrap up here? Yep. No. Yeah. Yeah. For sure. Yeah. Yep. hmm Yeah. And but it is like within the next few weeks is our target, right? Especially as we kind of get into NFL season. It'll be here kind of before we know it, like the Sharp 2.0. And like I said, and like Swami said too, I hate to be that guy, but if you don't have it and you want it, now is the time to get it. It just is. And try it for a month and let us know how we can kind of adapt and make it better, right? Okay. Yep. So next week we're gonna dive in a little bit more closely into straight bets, right? So we will still have the Proptimizer to look at as far as games go, but we're gonna look at money lines. We're gonna be looking at spreads. We're gonna be looking at totals as it coincides with the Sharp report and as it coincides with Sharp app AI and Sharp money handles tool. Okay, so that's kind of our focus, and we will either flip flop or we'll change subjects or whatever it is kind of as the weeks go on. We're going to mold this into whatever you guys want. If you guys have any feedback, throw it at us, right? Like I always answer DMs ASAP, and just let me know what we can do for you. We are here for you. So whatever you guys need, just let us know. Cool. All right, thanks guys. See you guys later.